Good morning and welcome back to the 21-day Resiliency Series titled Embracing Your Personal Failures. It is great that you are back with us. We are now on day 10. We have 21 reasons for embracing your personal failures that we'd like to share with you. We are excited for the opportunity to pour into your communities, to pour into your personal lives, to pour into your situation, reasons that we know can transform your lives, can energize your life if you would apply the reasons that we are given. If you would make those reasons part of your resiliency journey, self-awareness journey, part of your spiritual journey. So we are happy that you are with us. Remember, if you do like the content of our videos, that you do tap the like button. We want to know that you like our content. We also want you to share with us your comments. Let us know how well we are doing. Let us know where we need to improve. Let us know what you like about what we say. Let us know what you don't like or what you have questions about. We are open to that as well. And also do subscribe if you have viewing and have not subscribed, not become a community member. Do so, subscribe, and also do share and let others know the benefits of Breaking Through Barriers 360 YouTube channel. And we and you together will journey from the locations where we have failed to the locations where we will not just succeed, but where we will thrive. We are prepared to share with you reason number 10 why we should embrace our personal failures. Reason number 10 is failure dismantles perfectionism. Let us now get into the presentation. Have you ever noticed that people who try the hardest to present themselves as flawless are often the ones who feel the most trapped? They present themselves flawlessly, they speak of themselves flawlessly, and in every occasion, at every opportunity, in everyone's presence, wherever they are, at any opportune time, they will present themselves as not having flaws. They smile flawlessly. They perform flawlessly. They speak flawlessly. But on their inside, they're exhausted. They feel trapped, tense. They're afraid. They're afraid of sleeping even once. They're afraid of thinking of themselves making any error. They live in fear. They live in fear of themselves, in fear of others, and in fear of the future. And then one day, it all happens. All of what they've been trying to keep together, it crashes. There's total devastation. They sleep. They make an error, or they made some errors, and they get desperate about their future because they have now discovered their humanity. In one sense, it feels like devastation. On the other hand, it feels like liberation, because failure does something that perfectionism cannot do. Failure exposed them to their humanity. Failure liberated them from their own prison. On the outside, perfectionism shines, seems flawless, looks well structured, looks well positioned, has high standards, and performs excellently. But inside, perfectionism is a prison. It is a prison that whispers softly, "Don't mess up." It is a prison where the gods shout at the highest of their voices. Don't ever mess up. If you ever do, you are doomed. You are finished. I have discovered that perfectionism is not about excellence. Perfectionism is about fear. Perfectionism is about the anticipation that everything is going to work out. Perfectionism is built on the anticipation that everything is going to go to hell, everything is going to go wrong, everything will be devastated if an error is made. So the fear of being seen as human constructs that prison that harbors the soul of so many. And the truth about it is, for as long as we're trying to be flawless, we will not be real. We don't have authenticity. We will not be able to breathe. Neither would we be able to grow. There is no growth in perfection. There is no growing in perfectionism. There is no better in perfectionism. There is no best in perfectionism. Failure dismantles perfectionism. So in that quiet prison where the soul of humanity is trapped, failure then becomes that breakthrough. When that perfect wall breaks and the light of failure begins to shine through, humanity is now exposed to its true self, to its authentic self, to its real self, to the self that can experience growth, the self that can experience expansion, the self that can become more aware of its reality. Failure dismantles perfectionism. When you fail publicly, painfully, or dramatically, something surprising happens. You quickly realize that the world did not end. You quickly realize that the world never ended because you discovered your flaws, because you discovered who you are, because your soul opened up to you, your heart responded to your environment. You discovered that the world did not end. You realize that love doesn't vanish. You realize that life moves forward, and one truth becomes very impossible to ignore. You discovered you. You discovered your heart. You discovered your humanity. Above and beyond everything else, you discover that perfection was never required. That you don't know perfection. That your human transactions don't need perfection. You finally come to the realization, whether it be at the first error or the second error, you come to the realization that you have been living a lie all along. What lie have I been living all along? Why would you say that I was living a lie all along? Well, failure exposes us to the lack of perfection in all of it. Failure dismantles the make-believe of perfectionism. Failure exposes the lie that your worth depends on your performance. Failure exposes the lie that your worth depends on your stage performance, your verbal performance, your skillful performance, your achievements. Failure dismantles perfectionism by saying you can make mistakes and still be loved. You can make mistakes and you still matter. You're still important. You still have integrity. You still have great worth. And this world still needs your presence. Failure dismantles perfectionism by demonstrating you can fail and still have purpose. Failure dismantles perfectionism by proving that humanity is not a liability. And to personalize this, that your humanity is not a liability, rather, your humanity is your imperfect strength in an imperfect world. It's like those students who always seek to perform at the excellent level. As a student, I have been there as a student, always wanting to perform at the excellent level. But I have discovered that even when I got my first F, I did not stop academically. The world did not end. My professors still respected me despite the fact that they understood I did not pass the class with an A, but had to repeat the class because of the F. Failure exposes us to our imperfection. Failure exposes us to our humanity. It dismantles perfectionism. Psychologists see perfectionism as a defense mechanism to shelter ourselves, to safeguard ourselves from shame, rejection, judgment, and those negative impressions that people would have of us when we don't meet their expectations. And often we feel the need to seek to be perfect simply because we want to meet, or we feel the need to meet the standards, the demands, the expectations of other people. But failure strips away that defense mechanism, and in its place, in the place of that lie, in the place of that make-believe, in the place of that self-hatred, self-sabotaging principle, in that place arises the pillar of authenticity. The pillar that is able to keep us together when we embrace who we are and work with ourselves to grow. Again, remember, there is no growth in perfectionism. So humanity grows, elevates, transforms. Humanity learns because humanity is imperfect. In other words, a synonym for humanity is imperfectionism. When you think of your humanity, think of imperfectionism. Failure teaches us to accept our humanity. Failure teaches us to extend grace to others. Failure teaches us to identify with humanity because we too are vulnerable to what other humans are vulnerable. Failure teaches us to value progress over perfection. I need to re-emphasize that research has shown that people who have experienced failure again and again can become more resilient, can become more creative, can become more compassionate, can become more authentic. For when imperfectionism shows up, then humanity begins to take root. And it is in that process when humanity begins to show up, when the flaws are evident. When the flaws are evident, that's when growth can take place. And that's where the human bond becomes possible. That's where the real person emerges, not the make-believe person, not the assumed individual, but the real person. Failure dismantles perfectionism. So the reason that I'm sharing with you today is a challenge for religious zealots. Because religious zealots Fanatics always see themselves as needing to be perfect in order to be accepted by divinity or by God or by the supreme being, the creator of this world. So perfectionism is always the goal. And I'm making the point here today that there is no growth in perfectionism. There is no better. There is no best in perfectionism. It is only the acceptance of humanity can growth take place. Failure reminds us that only God is perfect. Only the supreme of all supremes is perfect. What is the spiritual layer to all of this? What does all of this have to do with spirituality? What is the spiritual lesson in all of this? Failure teaches us that only God is perfect. That as humans, we are beautifully, intentionally, and purposefully human. And that we are flawed. We are not flawless. So what do? We always get to this practical aspect of the presentation. How do we allow failure to dismantle perfectionism in our lives? How do we get to that point? The first recommendation is that we admit when something did not go well. We admit when something did not happen as we planned, as we anticipated, something did not satisfy us. We admit that something did not go well. That's the primary step. When we can admit imperfection, we can celebrate who we are. Honesty dismantles the unnecessary pressure that we impose upon ourselves simply because we are seeking to meet the standards established by others. Failure reveals the need for us not to embrace perfectionism. Number two, the second recommendation is that we should treat failure as information and not as identity. Oftentimes what we find ourselves doing is to use our failures, our mistakes, our errors as our identities. And we fail to grow because we would not give ourselves, we would not authorize ourselves to move beyond that wall that we have come across. The third recommendation is what we have been emphasizing in the presentation, and that is celebrate effort. Celebrate your efforts to grow, to expand, to increase, to elevate, to be better at whatever you do, in whatever space you occupy. Celebrate that effort and not perfectionism. In other words, I'm making the point that we should denounce the desire to be perfect and celebrate the efforts that we put forward every day so that we can better appreciate ourselves, and by so doing, we can strengthen the bond that exists between us and other humans. But when we do so, we are better able to identify with the vulnerabilities of humanity and would be in a better position to help strengthen and elevate the lives of others. So again, point number 3 is we should celebrate efforts and not perfectionism. The fourth recommendation is that we should speak to ourselves as someone we love, not as someone we hate. Personalizing this, I will say, speak to yourself as someone you love and not as someone you hate. Just as you can intentionally, deliberately express love to someone by saying, I love you. Celebrate yourself, embrace yourself, and speak directly to you, to your heart, to your core, and say, I love you. And focus on loving you as a platform which can be a springboard, which can provide an opportunity, which can be a pathway, which can create space for you to welcome others. By loving yourself, you will be free. You'll be free to love others. You'll be free to understand others. You will be free to pay attention to the needs of others because you don't live in self-doubt about you. That attitude opens the door for you to welcome others. Loving you makes it possible to love others. Loving you is freedom to love. Freedom does not come from doing everything right. Freedom does not come from perfection. Rather, freedom comes from accepting who you are even when you have done wrong. So the next time you failed, don't let failure speak the loudest. Let freedom speak the loudest. Let truth speak the loudest. Let self-acceptance speak the loudest. Let self-appreciation speak the loudest. Let self-awareness speak the loudest, and not self-hatred, not failure, not self-sabotage. You embrace you and speak louder. You embrace you and speak louder than your failure. Thank you so much for stopping by on day 10. We look forward to you coming back on day 11 and being part of this 21-day Resiliency Series, where the focus is embracing your personal failures. Again, if you do like the content of our video, we ask that you would tap the like button, you would subscribe, and that you would share with others what you have heard, what you've received from us, and you can give them some feedback as well. And of course, remember to put in some comments for us. Let us know how you appreciate us and how much growth you'd like to see us experience. Thank you again, and please be back on day 11.